You spent a lot of time, I mean, you're from Australia. You've raced a lot in Asia Pacific. I'm in Singapore. And while we don't really have any races here, you've raced around the region. Give me your take on the races you've done here and what it's like for you.
Oh, I mean, it's no secret. Obviously, the reason that I first started racing in Asia or Asia Pacific was because it was a lot easier with travel. The time difference is minimal. So to get, and when we turn up to a race, we want to get the absolute best out of ourselves. And the longer that journey is to get to the race, the larger the time difference. You've got to get there earlier. There's more chance of things going wrong. So Asia was just that perfect place to go to, where the time difference was minimal, the travel times very doable. And beyond that, I think it's such an untapped territory. I remember when I first raced in Asia, the very first race was the Laguna Phuket Triathlon, which is coming up in November. And I was absolutely blown away, not just with how well organized the race was itself, but by the crowds that were there. I thought I'd get to Asia and there'd be no crowds, no spectators. No one would know what the sport was. It'd just be me out there racing myself. And I was blown away by the support, not only the professionalism, as I said, of the race itself, but by the support that we got by the local people, volunteers, spectators. And then, of course, from there it snowballed. I started racing in the Philippines, which I know you've raced in the Philippines yourself, and that is like a whole different ballgame again, and probably one of the most incredible countries you'll ever race in. And they've embraced the sport of triathlon like no other country in the world. And I think I can say that I've raced in nearly every continent around the world, and I've never seen spectators like it in the Philippines. They absolutely love it. And they're not scared to admit it. I think sometimes in Australia, in the US and in Europe, even though I know we've got lots of triathlon fans over there and it's a big deal, I think they like to play it cool. It's not cool to show just how much you love it, or to show that you are a triathlon fan or junkie. Whereas in the Philippines, they're like, we don't care. We're proud of it. We're proud that we're triathlon fans. So I really loved racing in Asia, and I did make a habit of it, particularly in the latter stages of my career. It was a lot easier for me to get to and to stay there. And I love the temperature in the Asian races. I found, I don't think I'm a natural athlete by any stretch of the imagination. I was quite naturally talented on the bike, but my swim and run were just ordinary. Where I was able to win races and do well was because I was a hard ass, and the harder the conditions, the better I went. And you know yourself, living in Singapore, the heat and humidity that's everywhere in countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, you can't beat it. It's always going to be hot and humid. It's just the degree of that. So I found that I also raced a lot better in those conditions. So yeah, I really did make a habit of going back there in the end. Yep.
I'm actually very similar in the sense that, I mean, it's a comparative advantage to me. Like you've got these guys coming in from the UK racing in Langkawi, and like it's hot for me too, but at least I train in it, right?
That's right. You deal with it. You can just deal with it. I think people think, oh, you like racing in it, don't you, Belinda? I'm like, no, it's awful. But for some reason, I think our bodies just deal with it a lot better than most people.